Do you remember HTC? Yeah, that company that basically kicked off the Android revolution. They made the world's first Android phone, the legendary HTC One lineup, and for a while they were unstoppable. At one point, HTC was worth more than BlackBerry, Nokia and Motorola combined. And then, just like that, they disappeared. From owning nearly a quarter of the smartphone market in 2011 to literally 0% just 2 years later. So what happened? How did the world's most loved Android phone fade into the tech history? Let's rewind. Our story starts in Taiwan, 1997. Back then the company wasn't even called HTC. It was High Tech Computer Corporation, founded by Chair Wang, Peter Zhou and H.T. Zhou. Fun fact, Chair Wang was the daughter of Taiwan's richest man. And yep, she's still the CEO today. At first, they weren't even making phones. They built handheld PCs and PDAs, basically mini computers you could hold in one hand. But it didn't take long before they realized they were actually really good at making phones. The only catch, they didn't sell them under their own name. HTC worked behind the scenes, building phones for other brands, like Compaq, HP, Palm, and even Sony. They were the hidden powerhouse behind devices people loved. They just didn't know HTC made them. By the early 2000s, business was booming. This was the dawn of the smartphone. Chunky devices with keyboards and styluses running Windows Mobile. And HTC was quietly dominating. In 2006, HTC finally said, let's put our own name on these things. That year they launched 8 devices under the HTC brand. Most of them were inspired by Nokia and BlackBerry, but hey, they worked. And for the first time people started recognizing the HTC name. Then 2007 happened. Apple dropped the iPhone and the world changed overnight. Touchscreens were the future and HTC knew it. They couldn't use iOS of course, but it sparked an idea. 2 years later, they got a phone call that will change everything. It was Google. They needed a trusted hardware partner to help them build the first ever Android phone, and HTC said, let's do it. That phone became the HTC Dream, also known as the T-Mobile G1. Was it good? Not really. But it was the start of something huge. From there, HTC went on tear, dropping hit after hit. The Magic, the Hero, the Desire, the Evo, each one better than the last. They even made the first 4G phone ever, the HTC Evo 4G. By 2011, HTC was unstoppable. Their flagship, the HTC Thunderbolt, sold over 16 million units. They had a 24% global market share, ranking just behind Apple and Samsung. A 14-year-old company from Taiwan, sitting shoulder to shoulder with the biggest names in tech. But if you ever follow the tech history, you know what comes next. 2011 was supposed to be HTC victory lap. Instead, it became the start of their downfall. That year, both Apple and Microsoft sued HTC for patent infringement, claiming they copied the design, elements, and features. HTC fought hard. They even spent $300 million acquiring S3 graphics and $75 million on old telecom patents. Google stepped in and lent them some patents for backup, but it still wasn't enough. They lost. By the end of 2011, they posted their first quarterly loss in nearly a decade. Panic set in. So HTC tried to go budget. They launched cheap phones like the Wildfire, Chacha, and Salsa, which were basically Android phones with a Facebook button. Yeah, a literal Facebook button. And no one wanted it. From there, things got ugly. They started flooding the market with dozens of phones, random names, overlapping features, zero identity. Consumers were confused. Even HTC fans couldn't tell which phone was which. And when you make too many models, quality dropped fast. They entered what I called scramble phase, just throwing everything to the wall to see what sticks. Nothing. HTC went desperate to self-destructive. They blew millions acquiring companies that made no sense. Dashwire, Magnet Systems, OnLive, all flops. The only somewhat smart deal was buying part of Beats Electronics. That one actually made them some money. But they sold their stake way too early, right before Beats exploded in value. They dropped fan favorite features like SD card slot and removable battery. By 2014, HTC global market share had dropped to almost zero. They lost 20% of the smartphone market in just 2 years, but just when everyone thought HTC was done, they surprised everyone. In 2013, HTC decided to go back to their roots. Forget budget phones, forget gimmicks, let's build one great phone. And they did. They called it simply the HTC One. Critics loved it. It sold 5 million units in the first 2 months. For a brief moment, HTC was back. It even outperformed Samsung's Galaxy S4 in reviews, and some even said it was the best phone of the year. And then HTC did the most HTC thing imaginable. They stopped trying. Instead of building on that success, they played it safe. Every phone after that looked exactly the same. No bold moves, no risk. And as the smartphone world evolved, HTC just didn't. In 2017, Google came knocking again. They offered HTC a $1 billion deal, not to buy them outright, but to borrow their engineering talent. Basically, Google wanted HTC's people to help design Pixel phones. They quietly kept releasing phones, and in a random twist, HTC started sponsoring Super Smash Bros. Yeah, you can't make this up. Today, HTC still technically make phones, mostly for the enthusiasts who miss the old days. Their latest U-series phones have headphones jacks, expandable storage, solid cameras, and barely anyone buying them. But the truth is, they're not really a phone company anymore. They make money by quietly manufacturing and licensing tech for other companies.